Hey, this is Todd Clark, Executive Director of TIVA, the Television Internet Video Association, down here at the Video Show, formerly the GV Expo at the DC Convention Center. 2 days of incredible exposure to brands, manufacturers, software, hardware, and a raft of panels and discussions. Everything media happening right down here at the DC Convention Center. We still have a couple of hours left, so if you're just catching this right now, come on down to the DC Convention Center right on 9th Street, and you'll be able to meet some fascinating folks, just like I'm about to meet right here. We're doing a series of interviews with the movers and shakers. So I'm talking to Mr. Tommy Goodson, and your name itself kind of is self-explanatory, but I want you to explain Audio Video Brand Builder Corporation. Right.
So what we found over the years is that all the manufacturers left the United States, and it left us salespeople wondering how are we going to get a job. And we wanted to stay in this industry, so we decided to create a company that represents brands outside the United States that need representation.
Interesting. Okay. So yeah, you mentioned earlier you've got a footprint in South America and some other places. So how does it physically work? Let's say I'm in New Delhi or someplace. How I come to you with what kind of a question?
So we cover North and South America,
okay.
And we localize for.
So Bogota. So say
yeah,
I'll change
right.
it. Okay.
right. So what we do is we try to we know that manufacturers are outside the U.S. So we already know that Europe and Asia, all that market's already covered. UK is already covered. But the markets that matter to us the most are the U.S. and South America, because there are very few manufacturers.
The Americas.
Right, exactly.
Get that wrong. There's a North and a South America.
right.
We're all America.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So all we do is we try to focus on that territory.
Okay.
We have salespeople that are assigned to those areas, and basically we just represent the brand. The idea is that there's lots of dealers, lots of resellers out there, lots of system integrators that still need representation by the manufacturer. The manufacturer can't afford to have offices inside the U.S. because it's very costly. So we present ourselves as them.
Okay, so give me an example. If you want to use a real scenario, fine. Sure. If you want to make something up, but how would it work? So we've got in Bogota, we've got a captioning company.
Yep.
Okay.
So what happens is they would contact me because they found out that they one of our products that we represent. So if they either contacted the manufacturer or us directly, either way, we would tell them all about the products. And we would send them a demo unit, maybe. We would actually go visit them.
In this case, it would be captioning equipment and hardware, software, all that kind of stuff.
Right. So we one of the things that we do is we're unique in that we do high-end stuff, or high-end equipment. So we don't focus on your traditional widgets.
Right.
We do test and measurement, which is really complex. But just our mainstay, our name is actually came from was the fact that we represent brands that never had been started before, right? Small businesses that needed to get out. So we've actually created a brand for them. One of those brands is actually Fabrics. They're based out of the UK. They're a test and measurement company. And there was a product in the market that was manufactured by Harris that was a little pocket-sized generator analyzer. They discontinued that product. And when they did, it left a hole in the market. So these guys in the UK decided to build a competing product, a replacement product, and we told them what they needed to do to make it into this market. We told them the features, we told them marketing that needed to be done, and voila, 10 years later, we're now the #1 brand on the market. Fabrics is.
So how do you stay abreast of trends and product iterations? The 1.1, and then you got 1.10s and 2.8s. So you must constantly be updating your own selves and keeping your own Wikipedia of knowledge.
Literally.
And
it's a lot of talking, a lot of networking. Wow. So we pride ourselves in staying very close with the customer, the clientele themselves.
Yep.
And then we bring the dealer into the sale to close the sale, but we stay in the front line so that we are the manufacturer and we can get back to the R&D department and let them know what are the new features that are being needed, what new workflows are coming out. So it educates us just as quick as it does the R&D department.
So is that part of it? The exciting part for you? I
Big
mean,
time.
what keeps you?
We love that.
Yeah. So you're constantly being informed,
Yeah.
and your horizons are being broadened, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, is there a saturation point? I mean, you must walk home.
Yeah.
How do you turn off your Wikipedia computer in your head? I mean,
It's very hard.
Yeah.
Well, I'm that A-type personality, so I like that. I deal with that every day. But yeah, it can be overwhelming, and so you just try to control time management, really.
So, is there anything anyone could present to you that you would not have
Yes.
touched at some point?
Yeah, I mean, in this market, I've been in this market for 30 years. All of us have been, right? So you tend to remember things, and you stay on top of the technology for it. Most of this industry, stays with the same trend of technology, right? And when something new comes out, everybody starts adopting it. So it's really easy to maintain that knowledge and know where the market's going.
Yep. Well, I think also, if you've been in the business for 30 years, and I have as well, I feel like I might be accurate to some degree by saying that there are waves of technology explosions, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden there's a new blah, 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 and it feels like, well, geez, we haven't had one of those for another 5 years.
Yeah.
Is that true? I mean,
right now we're going through the craziest exchange. If you think about it, we started with analog in 1900 and went all the way to 2003 before the FCC said no more. Yep. No more digital, no more analog, period. We're not letting you extend it out anymore. This is it.
Yep.
So in 2003 to 2018, we've changed 5 formats. Who can keep up with that, right?
Yeah.
So being in test and measurement, that's kind of one of the interesting things about us. We saw that was a problem, and just loving the technology and wanting to be part of the technology, we immersed ourselves into test and measurement and stayed with it as opposed to branching out and doing other stuff. And what that did was it kept us on top of the market where the ideas the concepts are coming from, the projects are coming from, right?
Right.
So we can see where the market trending is before everybody else can.
But it was very intuitive and very smart. It's
Big
almost
time.
like saying, I decided to hang out at the patent office. Like, well, why?
Right.
Well, because I kind of get to see what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's a no-brainer, but people don't do that by rote, right? It takes someone who's kind of saying, well, if you really think about it, the best place to meet an international traveler is probably at the arrivals port at Dulles, right? Or the best place to find a new product. So testings and measurements where you've got standards are being established and need to be established. So you really are right at that literal gateway.
Leading edge.
Yeah, leading edge in that respect.
Yeah.
So I hate to ask a cheesy question, but so what's next for brand builders? Are you moving to other continents? Are you feeling like you're comfortable in the Americas?
We're expanding in the product line. So we tried to stay with products that were very high end, and we decided to bring in some other products that were still professional, but were in areas that weren't already being addressed.
So give me an example. Like
cameras, believe it or not, POV cameras. You've got GoPro that's going out there and selling all these cameras, but you can't control them, you can't do anything. So what you've got now is, if you've got somebody that wants to shoot any kind of footage, and they needed the high-end resolution, like not necessarily 4K, just the high-end resolution, they would use a camera with a 2/3 inch chip lens in it. A 2/3 inch chip, or a 1 inch chip, right? That follows through with DSLR as well. We now do that in small little handheld cameras, no longer the big giant ENG style cameras. And you can do it for a fraction of the cost, literally a couple $1,000s. So we have the same controls.
Right, so compartmentalization, efficiency, circuitry and all that kind of stuff. So it's literally that the decoder ring that is recording HD 4K is not that far around the corner. Right?
Yeah, literally. Literally, it's that close. We actually have we have little bitty cameras that are the size of a quarter. That shoot in HD and 4K, and you have full control, matrix control over it.
Well, the big topic, not just today, but the last couple of years is, shoot on a camera, and you've got some great, but you're accessorizing it with the right kind of audio and support, and not pointing it at the sun, and blah, blah, blah. So you have to, you can have the technology in your hand, but using it in a way that's going to be interesting to people. There's still a human error. There's still a human error and human factor involved. You know, so it's kind of cool.
In this market, one of the problems that we've had is everything is expensive. So we're trying to find a way to make things more affordable for everybody, not just one type of client. And that's where we're going.
Cool. Well, on that note, on efficiency and affordability, we're going to be back with a couple more interviews as the day moves forward. But come on down to the video show. You're set up right next to the TIVA booth. Probably 301 2 or something like that. I don't know what your number is.
I don't know.
But if you find the lights, and Tommy's right here. But we'll be back in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.